some small repayment for the judges and stewards that help us out over the show. In the horse section, we have in excess of 50 judges of various breeds and sections of the show. And we have about 70 stewards. So it's tremendous for those volunteers to come along. And it's great to see them out here in action.
Now, the beautiful trophy they win is very special, isn't it? Because that was something very dear to the late Colin Munro and also the late Councillor Michael White's heart as well.
Certainly is, and it's very special. The walking cane or the walking stick, it's got a bronze head, and then the interesting part is if you unscrew the head, there's just a nice little taste of whiskey in there. So it's a fabulous trophy, and it certainly goes well with this event.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the late Colin Munro, I couldn't speak, just words can't describe that man. He was a man on ABC radio for 50 years, and I just loved listening to Colin Munro on the Country Hour, on also Macca's program. He started Australia All Over, and then he eventually handed the reins over to Ian McNamara. But it was Colin Munro that had Sounds of Summer every year leading up to Christmas. And he was just a fantastic man. And this is in his memory, as well as the late councillor involved in the Sydney Royal Easter Show, Councillor Michael White from the Hunter Valley as well. And Colin Munro Jr. sends his love and best wishes. But I'd love you to pay tribute. Would you please put your hands together, honestly, for two great men that made a wonderful contribution to Australia, the late Colin Munro and Councillor Michael White. Come on, put your hands together for them. Give them a big, big round of applause. We salute them today. We really do. All right. Where's Carol?
And in first place, being awarded the blue ribbon by our international judge and course builder, and the winner is his first year here at Sydney Royal, Stephen Mayle, our green coat. Give him a big cheer, everyone. Wonderful.
Well done, Stephen.
9.5 he scored. That's a pretty terrific effort.
I tell you what, Armidale will be proud of you, boy. Well done.
Thank you, Angus. Thank you to Sydney Show. Letting me come here, invited as a green coat, first year this year. Thoroughly enjoying it.
Well, put your hands together. Come on, folks. Give me a big round of applause. We have Councillor Charlie Hook. And ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of David Look and Wendy Look, we have that lovely whip. And who does that go to, Carol?
Well, in second place, that's Brett Davey, of course, on the Clyde. Well done. And, terrific effort.
Ladies and gentlemen, Taldora Stud, that really means Tiller of the Earth, friend by my side. It was Georgie is a foundation mare on Taldora Stud, owned by David and Wendy Look. Now, David's a great steward down here, and he sends his love and best wishes. And would you please put your hands together for David Look? Give David and Wendy a big long round of applause. That beautiful whip. Come on, and Brett Davies, you'll be able to enjoy using that in the future. And I think very quickly, Graham has another result, and we'll come back for the other placings.
And we have the winner's music for the result of Class 623, the Child's Show Hunter Pony, over 12.2, not exceeding 14 hands, and it's a win for number 1300. Elvanora Park, Candyman and Caitlin Centre from West Burleigh in Queensland. Second placing, 1058, Melody Park, Heavenly Pearl, Sasha Parker, Eid and the Parker family, and J&R Equestrian from Dubbo. Third placing to 1412, Owendale Rembrandt, Francine Trenman and Mrs. Kate Trenman Duncan, and family from Rossmore. Fourth place to 378 at Tamlin Farms Tobias, Casey and Miss Natalie Curel from Wilberforce. Fifth placing number 547, Laureate Breaking Dawn, Rebecca Gerber from Sunbeam Victoria. Sixth placing 1520, Iona Park Maestro, Portia Whiffen Brisky from Riverstone, and the final award, seventh placing 21398, Madison Park Nonsense, Imogene Thew from Gosvale.
So here they go around the arena, folks, our very, very brave and gallant stewards, greencoats, judges for 2014 event. Put your hands together for them as they make their way around the arena. A lot of fun. Thanks to all the officials who set up the course, and thanks to everyone involved, and in particular our international guests, Mr. Ho from Singapore and Mr. Werner Dieg from Germany.
Werner Dieg, that's a special class, isn't it? Congratulations. I say a great class.
had a fantastic class, and we had so much fun. And thank you for the riders that coming in and showing up. It's not so easy. I know that with a big horse, what Brett have ridden, it's not so easy to jump.
Well done. And Carol, Mr. Ho, where's Mr. Ho? Sir, it's lovely to welcome you to Australia. So thank you for being here to judge.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for inviting me back to this show. I think this is a fantastic show, one of the best in the Southern Hemisphere, and I think especially this class is a very, very good and interesting class. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, Mr. Ho comes from Singapore and Werner comes from Germany. And we in Australia always pride ourselves in giving our overseas guests a big warm welcome. So would you please put your hands together? Come on, give them a big, big warm welcome to Australia. It's lovely to have their company, and we'll cross back to the broadcast box now to Graham Barker. Thanks, Graham.
Thank you very much, Angus and Carol Hukin. And I have a very special guest with me, and this is Kirsty Blades. And Kirsty's a member of the youth group. And tell me a little about the Youth Run the Show.
Well, Youth Run the Show is a new initiative for this year, and it was something that was very supported by the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales councillors, and in particular the President, Mr. Glenn Dudley. Youth Run the Show was an opportunity for youth group members to get a little bit more insight and behind the scenes look at what goes into running the show every day. And it is such an amazingly large show with lots of logistics. So 6 youth group members were lucky enough to be partnered with key executive and councillors to shadow them for a few hours on that day.
And I must admit, it went right to the top. Actually, Glenn Dudley had a young man with him. Our Chief Executive Officer, Michael Kenny, had a young person with him. I don't know if it was a young man, but one of the youth group, our ringmaster, and right around the ground there were young people who saw firsthand what it was like to be an official or one of the chief executives of the Royal Agricultural Society.
Indeed, in fact, I was the young lady who was partnered with Michael Kenny.
Oh, were you?
And yes, and I was shadowing Michael for a good 6 to 7 hours yesterday, which was a fantastic insight into the organisation, to see not only the combination of the official tasks that he needs to do, but also what he needs to do from a management perspective as well, and to really get that behind-the-scenes look at that day-to-day role.
People have no appreciation, do they, of just how much work these people do. You know, the Chief Executive Officer and also the President, they're here from early in the morning to late at night, and they do not stop. It's go, go, go.
That's very, very true. They definitely do not stop. We were on the go, so I think we did 3 formal presentations. There was an executive management meeting. We had an official lunch for long-standing members, so those members who have been members for more than 40 years, so recognising their contribution to the RAS. And all that time, all of these things going on in the background, and Michael really then relying on the key staff around the grounds, all with very important roles.
And what did you learn from it?
I learnt that once again the RAS is a great organisation to be in, and it's a great organisation to be involved in, and that as a young person they have a real desire to have young people involved in the show and in the Royal Agricultural Society itself, and that they really want to foster our development and encourage us to be involved, which is seen in today's activities being Youth in Ag Day. So to have our own dedicated day is fantastic. I also really, it reinforced for me the RAS's commitment to agriculture in this state, and that they are investing, $7 million into the agricultural community every year, which is made possible through the Sydney Royal Easter Show, and that just makes me really proud to be part of the RAS youth group and involved in this organisation.
I'll come back to you in just a moment, but we've got 2 exhibits being judged on the far side, the winners of the Novice Galloway classes, number 1251 Langtree Royal Affair. Romsey Park, Terry Van Hyverson and Greg Micken. And the other class winner, number 130, Royalwood Pop Rock, Trish and Rebecca Bennett from East Currajong. So what's the feedback been from the other members that actually went with some of the executives?
The feedback has been fantastic, and again, they've seen parts of the show that they had not seen before, and now we have a better understanding of what we should be thinking about when looking at youth activities at the Easter show and within the RAS as well. Feedback such as, it was amazing to be reiterated how important our volunteers are. So one of our youth group members was partnered with the HR manager. So looking after all the volunteers every day and how important that is to the running of the Sydney Royal Easter Show. And just understanding more the logistical element, which is fantastic.
So what's your involvement with other than the RAS, as far as agriculture is concerned and shows?
Well, I actually have come from a non-show background,
Oh,
which is
have you?
interesting. Yes, and I work in the agricultural sector, delivering programs and events for agriculture.
Right.
So work a lot with farmers, and was very passionate about agriculture. And it was through that I was exposed to the RAS of New South Wales and the youth group, and inspired to pursue a position and to be able to come in here and help with events and programs to support youth in agriculture as well.
And what's your background?
So my background is in event management.
Okay.
So I did a Bachelor of Social Science, Recreation and Tourism in events, and that's really where all my skills lie, is in assisting agricultural sector deliver programs and events to tell different stories about agriculture.
Where's home?
Home for me is, again not rural based, so up on the Central Coast. There is some rural areas around there, the Wyong area, things like that. So up on the Central Coast, and I know there are a lot of exhibitors here from up around that area as well. So while it's it's got a bit of a coastal feel to it, definitely some agricultural background there as well.
Have you had an involvement with a local show?
I haven't had an involvement with the local show. I've
this
sort of come straight to the top.
Has this encouraged you to go back and see if you can help a local show?
It definitely has. It definitely has. And we actually was just in a meeting with other young people who are all involved in their local shows. And one aspect we're really developing with local shows now is the Young Farmer Challenge.
Yeah.
So at 4:20 today, you're going to see the Young Farmer Challenge New South Wales final. And that is starting to really take off in regional areas and at local shows, with those winning teams then coming here to the Sydney Royal to compete for that New South Wales title. So that's a really great opportunity for young people in agriculture to get involved in their local show, and that's up in the Gosford region. That's where I'd now like to take my skills back to.
All right, back with you in just a moment. Down here in front of us, you can see 3 exhibits. Well, they are competing for the champion show hunter pony and reserve champion. We only have 3 because one exhibit has won 2 classes. 968 is Rolly Picture Perfect, Emily Murray from Lara in Victoria. Another class winner is number 1300, and that exhibit has won 2 classes, and that is Alvanara Park Candyman and Caitlin Centre. And the other one is number 1317, and that is Corana Neverland and Belinda Sibley from Arcadia. So back with our guest, and this is Kirsty Blades, and Angus has just returned. He hasn't put his headset on as yet, but I'm sure Angus has got a few things to ask you about it. Now you're finding, and I know Angus and I travel around the country doing agricultural shows and things, and the noticeable thing to us is that committees are ageing, and we definitely need a lot more youth to join show committees to keep them alive. Can you see any way that we can encourage young people to join show committees?
I definitely think that through activities such as the Young Farmer Challenge, which are really promoting youth in agriculture, it's something that's interesting, it's innovative, and we're really showcasing to a wider audience what farming's all about. It's also lots of fun and can start that networking happening. So I think invigorating the Young Farmer Challenge at local shows is a great first entry step for young people to get involved back into their local shows. And from there, I guess from the Sydney Royals perspective and the RAS, having the support of Mr Glenn Dudley, the President, the Board and the councillors, has meant that we really feel like we're very valued within the organisation. We feel that we have an opportunity to move up into council, and that is really motivating for us as young people, and so we're motivated to want to do great events and work within the RAS. So having that support from the top level down is really encouraging young people within the RAS to want to put their hand up and then consider council positions and being more involved in the show.
I know you should never ask a lady her age, but it's a leading question. How old are you?
Well, this is an interesting question, actually, because the definition of youth is normally that 18 to 35, and the youth group members should be under the age of 35. Yeah. I have pushed past that by a few years. So this is actually my last year on the youth group, but that is, we serve a maximum 5-year term.
Okay.
And they've been very gracious to let me continue beyond those 35 years.
And what about the other members of the youth group? What sort of average age would they be?
Average age is around that 28 mark. Yeah. So what we tend to find is there is a broad spectrum, but definitely we have a couple who are sort of final year of university and studying ag science, things like that. But then majority of youth groups are in established careers and have got that time then to dedicate to these youth activities within the show, and a wide diversity of people, you know, from vets to journalists to farmers, etc.
Kirsty, is there one thing in the world, particularly to do with agriculture, that if you could change it, you would change? What would it be?
One thing I could change in agriculture
that would make a big difference.
I think it's around the perceptions, and it's around encouraging people that agriculture and making everybody aware, even if you don't come from an agricultural background, that it's innovative, that it's exciting, and that it is full of amazing opportunities. And if we could really push that message out further and wider, I think that would really make a big difference to agriculture. So.
You know, we've got the age difference, we've got the younger people coming up, and we've got the people that have been involved in it for a long, long time. Do you find that the older people are accepting the young people?
I actually do, and I think, though, it's about proving ourselves first of all. So, like anything, you know, as an older person looking at what we're doing, we need to show that we are just as passionate, that we can deliver on what we'd like to deliver on, and that we can make a difference as well. And because I know that a lot of the older generation working so hard in agriculture, and what they want to see from us is that we have the same passion and we have the same desire to do that. Once we do that, then we're very much accepted.
Well, see, I know I'm young and I'm passionate about it, but
I was going to say you're very young.
We'll just ask the older member. We'll just ask the older member of the team. You got a question for Kirsty, Angus?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Barker.
Put your mic on.
I've got it on, but. Could I just say to Kirsty, look, congratulations. You know, the big thing, I'm a great lover of ABC, television and radio, and you should be a presenter on the ABC television. You do a great job. But, you know, it's so sad to think that in even ABC today, we have the country hour, and then we have landline. They're virtually the only two opportunities, and rural people notice it. I've been out looking at the drought areas in Queensland before coming down here, it shows. And the one thing they miss is, or the one thing that they don't receive and don't get, is that opportunity to really promote themselves, and it's through what you're doing and through what the next generation's doing that it's all going to happen. Because in Queensland, at the Royal Show in Queensland, they have a future direction committee, and you do it so well. I mean that sincerely. I'll tell you why. Because the Future Directions Committee at Brisbane rely on the next generation that represents all the other shows in Queensland for advice. And you just do it, Glenn Dudley and yourselves, as you said, and yes, fantastic. I really congratulate you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we are really proud of what we achieved. There are a lot of agricultural youth groups around the country all doing great things. But I really do feel that the RAS of New South Wales Youth Group is leading the way with the events that we're able to deliver. You know, we have a strong careers focus with the Careers Expo we run out here at the show on one of the school days. The Young Farmer Challenge, we saw the National Young Farmer Challenge final in here last night. which has been a real development process over the last few years that we started. So we really are a successful group, and we would love to have the support of more and more youth and to tell that story and help other youth groups succeed.
I'll tell you one of the great highlights of my year, and I thank Glenn Dudley and yourselves for allowing me to come down and MC the Excellence in Agriculture Award, where you recognise everyone. So well done. And just stay with us because we just have a special award to announce. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have for you the special class is 582. This is for the best novice Galloway hack. So the best novice Galloway hack, congratulations. It goes to breastplate number 1251, Langtree Royal Affair. Put your hands together for Romsey Park and Terry Van Hassen and Greg Micken from Romsey and Victoria. Congratulations. And looking back last year, the best novice Galloway, in fact, went to Rollwood opening night with Bailey and Christie and Collins. In 2012 was Cold Beach Venetian with Harper Purcell from Narangan, Queensland, Headley Park Choir Boy, Colvin Carney and Lions, won it in 2011. AP Wizardry 2010 with Leah Walsh and Terry Lammy from Mandurah, New South Wales. But there's been some fantastic names going right back to the records my lovely wife keeps, back to 2004 with Heldon Park Classic. And Cold Beach Carnival won it in 2005, Bingara Park Poetry 2006, and Rose Eagle Spring Surprise 2007, and KT Fine Fashion, boy, hasn't it been successful, 2008, and Nottingham Fine Print 2009. So, look, please put your hands together, give them a big round of applause. It's a magnificent exhibit, and it's signed by Langtree composer out of the Dam, Osterley Raven. I think Carol might be down there, so we'll cross down to her.
Oh, actually, I'm up with the gents hacks.
Oh, right, Carol,
Angus,
okay.
I didn't know which event was going to finish first, so I've opted to be down with these beautiful, big, bold gentlemen's hacks.
Well,
Graham, that we'll have a result any moment for.
We better say thank you to our wonderful presenters too. So we'll congratulations to those that have been presenting throughout the day as well. And Mr. Barker has it as well. Kirsty, it's like Bedlam up here, so it's mayhem up here. Kirsty, I tell you, but anyway, thanks for being patient. So, Mr. Barker, that special class, if you, we have a presenter no doubt down for it as well.
Yes, we do, Angus, and it's a product. My very good friends at Oakwoods Products and Jeff Searle, and we do say a very, very special thank you. It's also a prize rug, the best novice Galloway, supported by Rafferty Horse Rug, and Mr. Ian Stewart is making the presentation.
I got to say to Kirsty, that's one man you should contact, you know, Jeff Searle from Oakwood Products, because Jeff's just a wonderful supporter for ourselves at all the Royal shows and shows throughout Queensland, and he'd love to become more involved in supporting youth as well. We were talking about it the other day, so there's an opportunity there for you to make contact, and just remember the name Oakwood, and it does all your couches, leather couches, it does all your boots, and it even does hair for Graham Barker. You can see it looks nice and shiny and fantastic. Oh, it's a great product. And
sounds like something we might need to look into.
Okay, we have another result. It's back to Graham, and then we'll come back and talk to Kirsty.
And as a result of the gentleman's hack over 15 hands, written by a gentleman 17 years and over. Congratulations, number 830, and that is Lord Cairo. Malcolm McRae and Emily Lord from Mittagong. Second placing to number 91, and that is awards. Nomination of Joe Bailey, Michael Christie, and the McCanns from Most Cutters Bay. Lisa McCann. Third placing to 1254, SLM Prestige, Lomdi Park and Christine Frost from Toorak. Fourth placing to 527, GC Equestrian and Gemma Heron. And the black tie, fifth placing to 316, SLM Icon, Sarah Corrigan from Kenthurst. Sixth placing, 1003, Barn Nunn, nomination of Rodney and Tammy Notman, and Kay Parker, Blanchfield in Victoria. Carol, you're alongside the winner.
I am. Malcolm McRae, co-owner of this lovely gents hack. Please have a word to us about him.
Yeah, he's a really, really special horse. It's quite emotional. This horse was meant to be for young Molly Lord, who we tragically lost a little while ago. So I'd really like to thank the Lord family for giving me the opportunity And when young Em's ready, she's going to come out here on this most beautiful horse and have a really great time. Thank you, Linda. And thank you, Mark, Donna, and all our sponsors.
Well said. Very emotional moments here at the show. And congratulations to all the gents. Great to see you out here, fellas, on these horses. And Mrs. Debbie Etheridge has done a wonderful job there with the hacks today. We really look forward to exciting times for the champion hack on Monday. Ooh.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Carol. Well, Graham, isn't it a delight today to meet all these rule achievers and have Kirsty, and just been fantastic to see the. I've said to you for many years now, the word starting with P that I love, that I give addresses to at private schools and other schools, about having purpose and passion and perseverance and persistence, and I try to motivate young people. If you don't have passion, we don't get anywhere in this world, do we, Kirst?
Very, very true. I think those of us that are passionate, we can certainly achieve our goals. And a lot of young people, there is a lot of passion out there. And I do find that in agriculture, I find it's a very passionate industry to be involved in.
Well, it's primary producers, see?
Exactly. And what better industry could you work in that is... What industry is more important than feeding and clothing not only Australians but the world? So it's an amazing industry to be working in, and we're very thankful for all the farmers in New South Wales and Australia. And so being able to represent youth in agriculture and to have a dedicated day here at the show is just fantastic. Isn't that great? Congratulations. You know, Bucks, it's just wonderful to see that so many of these wonderful young people come into various, as Kirsty said before, eventually become counsellors, and they've had that experience. It's like doing an apprenticeship, isn't it?
Yes,
come
absolutely.
Through the ranks, you know, and that's so vital today. In the world of politics today, they become advisors to a politician, and they never gain and get up through the ranks and do an apprenticeship. They're just an advisor, and they pat them on the back and say, well, I've supported you, so you support me at the next election. You know what I mean? It's you people do an apprenticeship, and I congratulate you for that. Thank you very much. And I think that's a really good point as well, that with the support of sort of the board and the council and them really supporting us and encouraging us to come up through the ranks is really making a difference. Yeah, well, Mr. Michael Kenny, and there's another gentleman at Canberra now, Mr. Gary Ashby, I tell you, and Martin Maloney at Perth that are CEOs, and they are just dynamos. They're just so passionate about what they do, and Michael Kenny just... loves what you achieve. He was telling me the other day how proud he is of, and he said that he was involved with racing all those years, and he said this organisation here, he said, has such passion, and he said everyone's just comes together and works so well. He was really saluting all of you for what you achieve. And guess what? Kirsty spent the day with, or quite a bit of the day yesterday with our Chief Executive Officer. You lucky lady. Yes, I was very lucky to shadow Mr. Kenny yesterday and to really get an insight into his world and what it takes to run. I mean, this is, I think, you know, one of the largest events in the Southern Hemisphere. It's a logistical feat. And so not only is it showcasing agriculture, but all of the other aspects that go into that. And as I was saying, you know, Michael's very keen to put that message out there that the RAS is here to support the agricultural community. And with $7 million going back into agriculture as a result of the Sydney Royal Easter Show and other activities, that's just fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us. And we just have a special champion to announce down here. Well, Graham Barker, I think, before we announce this, I think this is the first year that we've actually had the two divisions. Last year, up until last year, it was the champion show, Hunter Pony, not exceeding 14 hands. This year... I think you're right. Yeah, we've got to have the two divisions, and this is for Special Class 60 for the champion, reserve champion, show Hunter Pony, and this is over 12-2 hands, not exceeding 14 hands. Ladies and gentlemen, the champion goes to catalogue number 1317, Krana Neverland. Belinda Sibley from Arcadia, New South Wales. Congratulations. Well done. And in the reserve champion goes to breastplate number 968, Rayleigh Picture Perfect, Emily Murray from Lara in Victoria. And that's where you've just finished all your subdivision down there too at Lara, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Angus. Yep. Yep.
So he's,
just near Geelong.
So, Kirsty, you're sitting alongside of one of the wealthiest men in Australia. Lucky girl.
Oh, yeah.
That's very good to know.
Even though he's getting older in life, but he's not a bad bloke, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Carol's down there. Carol Hewkins down alongside our champion, Belinda Sibley from Arcadia and Corona Neverland. Thanks, Carol.
Thanks very much, Angus. The rider here, Trinette Crawford, congratulations. And I know the connections this pony will be thrilled. You want to talk to them?
Yeah, thanks very much for letting me ride him.
It's a thrill when you ride one that takes out the broad sash, isn't it?
Absolutely. They've put a lot of work into him and they've done a great job.
Well done. And also to our reserve champion, sneaking around the other side, hasn't been awarded yet. Your name is?
Taylor.
That's right. Taylor, I've interviewed you a couple of times. Sorry about that. So, great ride. Is that a thrill? You haven't got the ribbon, you've got the smile.
Yeah, very good. He's a good boy. Thank you to Fee and Emily. He's a special boy.
They love these horses. Win, lose or draw, everybody's a winner down here in the main arena. And our judge, Julie Butler, is just placing the reserve sash now on this pony. Julie, I know you've enjoyed these hunters. I've seen the look on your face, but give us a rundown.
Or both my champion reserve quality ponies, and we spoke about it yesterday too. People still have to remember that a hunter has to be a quality horse as well. And
they are, and they've done the job as well, haven't they?
Yes, but my whole day, all my winners and place getters, I was very excited with.
I think anyone could see that the standard has gone up, not only the numbers, which is the reason for the split in the height classes for champion, but the standard, the presentation, the work, the whole kit and caboodle's improved.
Yes, it has. And everyone's getting it. They're going more bolder and going for it and galloping.
That's what hunting's about, isn't it?
No, I was very excited and I've enjoyed my time immensely. Thank you.
Well done. Well, we've enjoyed having you too. Congratulations, Julie Butler. Thank you very much, Angus and Graham.
Thanks, Carol. The Reed Thoroughbred Stud Perpetual Trophy, the champion show hunter pony over 12-2, not exceeding 14 hands, has been presented by our judge. The RAS of New South Wales Award of Excellence Medallion was also presented, and the garland for the champion show hunter pony over 12-2, not exceeding 14 hands, supported by the Australian Hunter Horse Association. Catriona Fideskaus was the presenter, so we do thank them sincerely for their support.
Well, Mr. Barker, can I just say once again on behalf of Brett Davies, a very special thank you to Southern Cross Wesley that carried him around in second place today. He won that beautiful whip from David Look and Wendy Look, the lovely 6-year-old Shy Gelding, owned by John and Catherine White. And you can see that magnificent big horse, folks. Go down to the Jinko Pavilion, have a pat, and go up and say, which one are you, Wes? Okay? And go and talk to Mr. Glenn Denham as well and all the other people down there. They'd love to see you. And thank you for their support in supporting that magnificent stewards event in the memory of the great and the late Councillor Michael White and also the late and the great Mr. Colin Munro that dedicated his life to make rural Australia better and bigger each year. So back to Graham Barker.
Thanks, Angus. And here are these beautiful hunter ponies. And congratulations to the champion and the reserve champion. Here's an opportunity for you to see some really, really quality hunter ponies. And what a thrill it is to take home a ribbon from the Sydney Royal Easter Show, but to get a champion or reserve champion is very, very special indeed.
And Barks, thanks to our judges and all our stewards, all the volunteers that put on the show, folks, because without people and volunteers, we wouldn't have shows, would we?
Actually, that was one of the things that Kirsty mentioned before. I asked her what was some of the feedback that she'd heard, and one of the members had been with the PR manager, and that involves going and talking to and working with all our volunteers.
Wonderful.
Any idea how many they've got at the show? Did they give you some statistics?
Well, I believe that there are about 200 volunteers out here a day. And they are a very passionate group of people as well. And as Ashley from the youth group mentioned, that what it really brought home to her was that without those volunteers, this show just wouldn't run. And that's just not volunteers out there on the showground, but that's all of the volunteers who are out here running each of these competitions, so which is really driven by volunteers and the councillors who are also passionate about agriculture in those individual sections and who make these competitions happen.
Well, I'm just going to say to Kirsty, to you and all the wonderful people, I dedicate this to you. It says, why be a volunteer? It's not for the money, it's not for the fame, it's not for any personal gain. Part of it is for the love of our fellow man and just to lend them a helping hand. It's just to give a tithe of self. That's something you can't buy with wealth. It's not medals worn with pride. It's not for the feeling deep inside. It's the reward down in your heart. It's feeling that you've been part of helping others far and near. That makes you a volunteer. So we salute you.
Angus, of course, here in New South Wales in particular, the volunteer really came to the fore during the Olympic Games in 2000.
Yeah, very much.
Unbelievable what they did and what they achieved during the Olympics.
And I think that's really probably set the way here in Australia for the
without a
volunteer movement, which is fantastic. And from my personal perspective, within the youth group, it's a volunteer position. And for me, it was a way of giving back to agriculture and giving back to an industry that had given so much to me on a professional level. So again, having that opportunity within the Sydney Royal Easter Show to do that has been fantastic.
And also, just on folks, for all of you out there, look, on a Saturday night, about 5-6 years ago, we had 617 shows in Australia. We're down now to 587. So look, if you can go and rejuvenate a show that you know of, and like we saw one of the rural ambassadors, one of the young fellows the other night in the Excellence of Agriculture Award, he had a presentation, the most magnificent thing. He lives in a country town, and they've all got together, Parks, and they've repainted the whole town. They had all empty shops. Now the shops are filling up, and if people don't get in very quickly, they'll miss out on getting a shop. So it was one of the most magnificent stories I've ever heard at the Royal Easter Show this year. It was fantastic.
That great? Isn't that great?
And he was presented by Mr. Glenn Dudley, the president, and just saluted for his excellence and what he's achieved.
And I just made the comment before to Kirsty, that as you and I travel around